Hey there, welcome back. Today I am going to take you onto the nicest overnight sleeper train compartment currently deployed in China, and as of last week, the only route in the entire country that uses the brand new private sleeper compartment. I'm going to show you firsthand what the experience is like, having ridden Amtrak many times myself in the States, and how during the course of over 12 hours, why I didn't manage to get a single minute of sleep that night. Before we get started, if you're interested, check out my last episode inside the fabulous flagship Hubei Museum and the national treasures inside, including the most famous sword in the country that once belonged to a king that has stayed rust-free and sharp for thousands of years. With that, let's get our journey started. The Shenzhen to Beijing route is, as of this video, the only route in the country to use the private sleeper compartments. For reference, that distance is comparable to going from Miami to New York City back in the United States. High-speed rail in the past decade has grown to cover thousands of miles throughout the country. So you may be wondering why I chose to sleep on a train overnight instead of flying or taking a daytime high-speed train like I showed you in a previous video. Well, when I fly anywhere in the country, I try to get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. And by the time I get to my destination, at least half of my day is gone. And that's if the flight is on time. This is why I love high-speed rail in China, because security checks are much faster and the trains are always on time. But even 5 hours on a high-speed rail means half my day is gone. So to be able to board an overnight sleeper train in the late afternoon, have dinner on the train or at the station, then sleep my way to the destination to wake up and have a full day ahead of me is very appealing. I get to the train station and it is a tremendous building. The infrastructure here is absolutely top-notch, probably best in the world, and this station serves millions of riders every year. It is a cavernous open-air station that is divided into dozens of entry gates, and boarding starts 15 minutes before departure. And you always see people line up neatly ahead of time. The station is full of fast food restaurants, from your familiar McDonald's to local flavors. And the view from the second floor is spectacular and much less crowded as you marvel at this humongous station. I grab a quick dinner this time before boarding the overnight train, and it's time to head to my gate and board the train. When you see the train, it's really unique because it's one of the few double-decker high-speed trains in use today. Actually, it's the only one as of this video because the pandemic reduced passenger demand in this country in the past few years. But with this route, we'll be seeing more and more of these two-layer compartments in the future. The entire train only has one seating option. There's no economy or first class, only sleeper compartments in every car. But the lower berth is more expensive than the upper berth, perhaps because it has slightly more room and it's obviously easier to access. And if you're wondering what this 12-hour ride from Shenzhen in the southern part of the country to the capital Beijing in the northern part of the country costs, is 1,200 yuan, about $180. An upper berth would have been cheaper at about $160. This is what my compartment looks like, and it reminds me of an airplane business class seat. First, you have the space on the inside of the bed to stow your luggage, which I found to be cumbersome if your bags are really heavy. But I realized later that underneath my bed, there's additional space to stow luggage, especially for the upper berth passenger. The seat comes as a non-adjustable bed, and you contrast that with the business class seat, on the newest daytime high-speed rail, which is adjustable. I'd say that this bed is actually comfortable, but very much on the firm side. You get a pillow and a duvet, wrapped in fresh sheets, and I especially like this cushioned seat back that's built into the compartment wall because we usually board these trains in the late afternoon, early evening, and you don't sleep right away. So to be able to sit upright for a few hours and read a book or play with my phone is a big perk. There are lights and electric outlets within my little pod, and the window has an adjustable blackout shade. Which brings me to the one thing I don't like about riding the train at night, is that I like to look at the view outside when I'm riding a train. That's one of the biggest perks. And at night, the only thing you see is yourself reflecting from the window. Each seat has an AC vent, but the temperature is centrally controlled, so I couldn't adjust the temperature inside my pod. But it was fine, it was comfortable. And each pod also has a privacy curtain that wasn't very thick, nor could it block out any noise from your neighbors. But it did create a private pod experience, so I was a big fan of having this curtain. That's also a first. I've never seen this curtain before on an overnight sleeper train here, even in the best ticket options. Walking around the train compartment, there are toilets in each train car, but note that there's no shower on this train anywhere. There is a dining section on this train that sells snacks and drinks, but no hot meals. I had read about this before boarding the train, which is why I had dinner at the station. And behind these closed doors are where the attendants and crew will sleep for the night. As my train reaches its top speed of about 160 miles an hour, which is noticeably slower than the 230 miles an hour high-speed rail can reach during the daytime, I try and drift to sleep. And by 6:30 a.m. the next morning, I'm in Beijing. So what's the verdict overall? First, I'm glad to have tried this new travel experience in China. It was right on time to the minute and got me to Beijing safely. But throughout the night, I wasn't able to sleep at all, and that's got more to do with me than probably most other passengers. You see, I'm about 6 feet tall, and the space was tight. I could fully stretch out, and if you're any taller, you've reached the limit. But the bed was tight. And having ridden on the overnight sleeper twice in the past month, I am finally convinced that this is not the experience for light sleepers like myself. You see, while the train had very few rattlings or squeaks throughout the night, the train is constantly in motion, and the noise did keep me up. And you'll hear it more in lower berth because you're closer to the wheels. And also in the bunk above me, the passenger snored loudly all night, and I could hear it clearly. But that's his right, he did buy a ticket, and even though the Bose noise-canceling earbuds did help, I just couldn't fall asleep. But most other passengers seemed to sleep fine. Certainly the guy in the bunk above me did. So if you can fall asleep easily, this is definitely the best travel option for long haul in China today, because you could travel by night and sleep through it all, and wake up with a full day ahead of you in the city. I'll still try not to fly, given how nice the high-speed rail is in this country, but next time, I'll catch the train in the daytime. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And in the next episode, I'll begin my Beijing journey in earnest and first make my way to the new Beijing Universal Studios. That's right. It just opened during the pandemic, and today is finally at full capacity, and the park was packed. I go with an express pass in my hand to each of the rides, and if you're a fan of the Jurassic Park series, I'll have lunch at the awesome Hammond's that honors the park's founder from the original movie. It's going to be an amazing day, and I'll see you there. Stay tuned.